everyone, I hope you're all doing well. My name is Anna, and this is my channel, Soul Embrace Intuition. Welcome to my channel. I wanted to sort of give you a little bit of an intro. I've already uploaded a lot of readings, right, on the channel. But I have a vlog channel. All that information will be below in the description box. That was my original channel, which used to be makeup related, and then, you know, it's gone through several transformations. And lately I've been posting vlog videos about, you know, subject matter of the spiritual journey, my spiritual journey in particular. And rather than download those videos and post them here, I urge you to go there. By the time I post this, I will have created a playlist on my channel that you can just search to make it easier for you. And I urge you to go back and watch those videos if that's something you're interested in. But I thought I would start, and I'm going to start posting those types of videos here on this channel, because you're all like-minded people. You're searching for answers. Maybe it's just you're searching, you want to know what's going to happen with your love life, right? Which is not a simple concept. Love life involves, you know, two people connecting, and that's a major relationship that we have in our lives. But also, the most major relationship is the one that we have with divine source, right? God, the universal energy, whatever you want to call it, right? So, and secondly, with ourselves, our relationship with ourselves, we've become pretty disconnected from our own inner self, that so much so that sometimes we search externally to fill ourselves with whatever it is we're missing, right? We're trying to find it in other people. So this video might be a little long, so I'm warning you, my videos tend to be long. I'm going to try and I'm just going to focus this video on my particular background and experience, right? What I've been experiencing within the last 48 years that I've been alive. It won't be a long video. I promise. I just wanted to give you a little bit of a background, because you're watching my readings and, you know, you're either resonating with them or you're not. I'm fairly new to the oracle reading. I'm not gonna lie. I'm fairly new to the oracle reading world, right? But I've connected very much with it because I am in tune with my source, and with my intuition is very strong, and I felt very prompted and compelled to do oracle readings. And I hope that I'm doing something positive with that, that I'm contributing something positive. If I see that it's not, I'm sure it will naturally change directions and have its own flow, right? I'm just letting myself be guided by spirit, divine source, my guides, right? I've been intuitive and an empath my entire life. An empath is a person who can sense other people's energy and emotions, and sometimes you absorb it, right? You feel it so strongly that it absorbs into your energy if you're not aware of how to avoid doing that, right? My whole life I've spent feeling drained by other people's stuff. I can feel their energy. I can just feel it, and I know what's going on, you know, intuitively, without them telling me. I've always been that way. I've always been able to see ghosts and sense things, and had very vivid dreams as a young person, a lot of nightmare type dreams, even past life dreams, all of that, very active in that world, right, in that realm. And so from very little, I was always curious about the subject matter of spirit and death, ghosts and spirits, and it ran this sort of ability ran in my family along my mother's side. My mother was also very intuitive, downright psychic, scary, and her mother, her aunts, her everybody, and her grandmother, they were all mediums and clairvoyant and all of it, clairaudient, right? So it ran on my side of her side of the family. So I think it goes down all the females of the family. So anyway, I've always been in tune, and I've always, because I grew up hearing my mom talking about that stuff, I was never really too scared. As a little kid, I was a little bit scared, especially one experience. I had this being of light show up. I was very scared. I was very scared because I didn't understand it, right? You have to be at a mindset of being able to understand certain things, or else they just become scary. But my point is, always, as a teenager, I would read books about God and different religions, and I was studying metaphysics. I would go to a metaphysics class. I went to ESP classes. Whatever I could find that I could go to, I would read up on the gurus of India, and I would go to Bible study. I was really trying to understand, gosh, what is this thing, right, that I'm so drawn to? And then I had, at the same time, since I was very young, I've experienced depression, terrible depression. Around my 21 years of age, I started going to this person who she has every degree you can think of in the healing arts, right? Excuse me, something in my eye. She was a hypnotherapist, a psychotherapist, a registered nurse. She was a licensed massage therapist, all of it. Healer, Reiki, all of it. Yoga. Last I heard, she was studying Chinese to become a Chinese medicine.
Nikki, Ricky, Dickie, and Dawn was a children's comedy
Alexa,
shared on Nickelodeon.
stop. Alexa, stop. That thing is scary, I'm telling you. You can't say anything that sort of sounds like her name, and she freaks out. Anyway, as I was saying, so I started doing hypnotherapy. I went through hypnosis, all of that, to try and figure out what this depression was about. And it never really quite fully helped, but by meeting her, I was exposed to, we did Bible study, she was involved with everything. I mean, really. Then later on, when she became interested in gurus, Sai Baba of India, our group, which was a study group, we would read books, spiritual books, and then we would discuss them. And so, that was my life, really. And then, but I still had this depression, right? On and off, sometimes on for way too long, off for a while. And it was always present in my life, always. And then at some point in my 30s, I had an experience that sort of catapulted me into what they call the dark night of the soul, right? Extreme depression, extreme dissatisfaction with life, thinking that I was alone. I no longer believed, right, in anything. I didn't believe in anything. And I've explained in a video, please watch those videos if you can, because I it's sort of like I'm channeling, off the cuff. They're not planned videos. I just have little subject matters that I want to talk about, and then I just talk, right? Sort of like I'm doing now, but I'm not going to delve too deeply into the things I've discussed before. Suffice it to say that I have explained that this event that catapulted me into my dark night of the soul is the same event that pulled me out of it. How is that so? Because there's such a thing as divine timing, right? You have to go through things in your life, your experiences in life sometimes seem unfair, and you're confused and you're not understanding, and it's simply because you're not connected with your source, right? Because if you gave yourself up and let go, you would understand that things happen when they have to happen, and everything happens for a reason, right? These things that we hear all the time are sayings and cliches for a reason, because they're true, right? So because of divine timing, I started having dreams and dreams and dreams. I was going through a very bad depression episode during this time that I started having these dreams. This was just a few months ago, okay? And there were dreams about the person involved with that event that happened to me, that catapulted me and made me question everything about myself, my intuition. I didn't believe in my own intuition, which is my direct connection to source. That's what our intuition is that little thread, that cord that ties us to the source directly, right? That's our little, those telephone cans that you put a cord in and then you can talk through them. That's what it is. It's a direct connection. That's how I explain it, right? So I kept questioning, why am I having these dreams? Why is this person coming back into my psyche, right? I had pulled them away, put it away. I had put that away. I had put that event that had changed my life, put it away, and had sort of reclaimed a little bit of my life back, right? I readjusted. I started living normal life on the superficial level because I had abandoned my spiritual life for many years. Very depressed, very angry, so disconnected. And when these dreams started coming back, started happening, I finally had to say, okay, let me look at this. And that was the beginning of my spiritual awakening and my coming out. I don't know if I'm completely out of the dark night. I believe I'm pretty much out. It's hard to tell sometimes, because sometimes you have a false exit, but I've done the work now, so it's not a false. I had a false exit a few years ago when I thought, oh, I'm living a normal life. Meanwhile, I hadn't really done anything to clear and understand that event that catapulted me into my dark night of the soul. I hadn't done anything to delve deep into that. I just pushed it aside. I would pray and scream at something I didn't even believe in anymore. Remove it, right? Remove it from my life. Remove it from my head, from my heart. Just take it away. And the universe said, you know what, let's give her a little bit of a break, because, we're working on other stuff in the meantime in the background. right? So they let me have a break and let me think, I'm fine now. I have these instant bouts of depression, but I'm fine. I started taking medication. I started, I did start therapy after my mom passed away. For about 4.5 years ago. That was very difficult for me, extremely. So I started therapy after that, and it was very helpful. It's helpful to talk to someone who's not connected with your stuff, who doesn't know you, right? It's a stranger, and it's their job to listen to you. So it was helpful for me. But I had not dealt with that original thing until a few months ago when I started having these dreams, like I said, and I said, fine, what is it about it? Why am I having this dream? Is there something wrong? Is what's going on? Why is this important? Why is this important right now? Obviously my brain thinks something's important. I couldn't make the connection. So I started thinking, and I started looking at the event, and things started to happen. I was able to forgive myself for my role in that event. And this is, what I'm talking about is a process of analysis of my life, certainly of major events in my life that have been life-changing, life-altering, right? Not maybe little everyday mundane things, big things. Those are the things I started to look at. And I started with that main thing that had, for me, been a major event. And I was able to think about that event, right? And not feel what I had felt before, that I had pushed it away because I didn't want to deal with it, because it was too painful. I felt angry, I felt sad, I felt betrayed, I don't know, a bunch of stuff, right? I felt a bunch of stuff. But now, many years later, when I looked back on it, I was like, oh, wait, how come I'm not feeling pain? How come I'm not feeling that resentment or whatever I was feeling? That's interesting. Okay, now I can sort of look at it because it's not hurting. So that's where divine timing comes in. If you're in that pain, it's kind of hard to analyze it because you're not going to think clearly, right? Time heals all wounds. That's sort of what that's related to. It's not that it heals the wounds, it's that it gives you enough space and distance from the wound to be able to see it from a different perspective, right? And that's what I was able to do. I was able to forgive myself because I saw my role in what had happened. I had a role. We all have a role. We're not victims of anything or anybody. I know what you're thinking. There's some major things that could happen to someone. How could you think that someone is to blame for that? Life is complicated and it's a mystery, right? There's karma, there's so many categories of things of why something could happen to someone. But everything serves as a lesson, whether it was good or bad. It's a lesson for you to learn something about yourself. So take every event in your life, the traumatic ones, start with the traumatic ones. Start with that. Don't start with the easy ones. At least that's how I approach That's how I approach it. I'm like, give me the worst thing. All right, let's look at it. But I have heavy Scorpio in my chart. Scorpios we're tough characters. We look at stuff that belongs in the darkness and we're okay with it, right? We're different kind of people. We're just different from others, from other signs. But if you're not able to do that, start with something lighter. It's up to you. Everybody's journey is different. And that's sort of the point of this video, is to share my journey with you and my background. So these last few months, it's been about, is it 6 months? It started around, the dreams started about, I want to say April, maybe March to April-ish. So 4 or 5 months, that's hardly anything. And it has been the most intense and awakening 5 months of my life. I've accelerated very quickly in my spiritual awakening because this is the real deal now. I have not experienced a bout of depression. I have felt sadness. That's different than depression, right? Sadness, you can rationalize, you can see a way of understanding where your sadness is coming from, and you can process that. Depression is a different thing. To me, depression is a spiritual depression, a depression of the soul, a sadness in the soul, right? But that's a whole other video. That'll be a whole other video. And it will. I'm not just gonna post oracle readings here, or all of these things, which I enjoy very much, and I feel they're helping people, until I feel that if I get feedback that it's not helping, I might rearrange that. But I think that will happen naturally. I really do. Right now, it's a good thing. And I'm still connecting with it. I'm still understanding it. I'm still figuring out my own process of how I'm doing these readings and tapping into my intuition. But within these last few months, I've accelerated very quickly and have come to many realizations that have been eye-opening and absolutely beautiful. Beautiful. Like I said, I forgave myself for my role in that situation. I forgave the other person for their role in that situation. And I understood that we were acting, we act on things, we do things, our actions sometimes are based on, you have to forgive yourself, because you didn't know any better back then, right? But if you have the opportunity now to have a redo, knowing what you know now, I would imagine you wouldn't repeat the same mistake again, right? So that's what I went through, the purging. Purging means processing things and feeling, oh my gosh, crying. Crying is a huge purging mechanism, right? And again, it's not depression, it's sadness for the mistakes, for the misunderstandings, for sadness caused to another person, all of those things that you could maybe call regrets. Maybe you can maybe call them that, but it's certainly, gosh, you're mourning. That's what the purging and the crying is getting all that out, right? Getting that sadness out, so that you can look back on it and have a more rational mind, a more understanding ability to understand, having the ability to understand from an objective point of view. Objective is a point of view that has distance, right? You can see it from up here, right? Subjective, you're in it. You're the subject of the thing. I hope that was clear. So I fairly recently came upon the understanding or realization that the steps that I was taking for my spiritual awakening were, excuse me, I get very itchy. My nose gets itchy when I do these type of videos. It's sort of like a channeling thing. I have to research that. I could have sworn that I had heard other people say the same thing when they're doing their readings or channeling. They get itchy nose. I have to look that up. It's very interesting. Yeah, so I discovered recently that the steps that I was following just through intuition, how do I, my processing of life and all that stuff, was very similar to the steps for Alcoholics Anonymous. They're famous, very famous 12 steps. And I knew about the 12 steps, right? But I had never read them. Never read them. I knew of one step. I said this in a video before in my other channel. I knew of one of the steps because of a Seinfeld episode where they feature that step. One of the characters is making amends, right? Something like that. So when I read the steps, and I don't know what prompted me to read them, by the way, something I kept hearing, AA, steps, and I was like, you know what, let me read the steps. I'm curious. And sure enough, my curiosity led me to seeing the steps. And although they are based on, or they are meant for alcoholics, right? Those particular steps, I think they've made amendments for the other addictions, other programs that they have that are related to AA. But if I took out the word alcoholic or alcohol or whatever, I was like, wait a minute, these are the steps that you take for your spiritual awakening. At least that's what for me, that's what made sense for me. Other people might explain it in a different way. So I rewrote them. I hope I don't get in trouble for that. It's just for me, for my own reference, right? Because I wanted it to read the way I was thinking about it. And so I made a little simple, obviously very simple Word document, which I can email to you if you want. Again, I'm not a sponsor of AA. I have nothing to do with them. I have rewritten the steps I put on here based on 12 steps. But I don't know if that's a wrong thing to do. If it is, someone tell me. I don't know anything about the legalities of that. I'm not claiming that these are my steps. I am claiming that these are the steps a person takes when they are wanting to begin their spiritual quest. Absolutely. And that's really what it is. A person addicted to alcohol or drugs of other sorts is a person who has lost their way spiritually. They've disconnected, right? So they rely on a worldly substance to help them escape the things that they are avoiding. They can't or don't want to look at internally what's going on. So they use an external source, whether it's sex, drugs, alcohol, whatever, gambling, to keep them distracted, right? Because that's the negative energy, the negative force that's out there. There is a negative force. You can call it the devil, you can call it negative energy, you can call it whatever, I don't know, whatever else you want to call it. But it certainly exists, and it has to exist so that we can understand the light that we come from. If we don't see the darkness, we cannot see the light. It's just the way it is. Ponder on that and think about that, and you'll come to understand that it's true. So I rewrote the steps for myself so that it made it easier for me to understand them. And I'll read them to you. And like I said, if you want me to email this to you, I will. I don't mind. And again, like I said, I'm not connected with anybody officially from any of that. So if it's wrong for me to have done this, let me know, and I won't email them. You can do this for yourself, right? This is just a reference. I have it put up on my armoire here so I can see them, because I'm a visual person and I need visual references. So these are the 12 steps to spiritual awakening based on the 12 AA steps, Alcoholics Anonymous steps. 1. I admit I am powerless and that my life has become unmanageable. 2. I have come to believe that a power greater than myself could restore me to sanity. 3. I have made a decision to turn my will and my life over to the care of God as I understand Him. 4. I have made a searching and fearless moral inventory of myself. 5. I admit to God, to myself, and to another human being the exact nature of my wrongs. 6. I am entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. 7. I've humbly asked Him to remove my shortcomings. Shortcomings are flaws, defect, imperfections in your character. 8. I have made a list of all persons I have harmed and have become willing to make amends to them all. 9. I have made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10. I continue to take personal inventory, and when I'm wrong, I promptly admit it. 11. I have sought through prayer and meditation to improve my conscious contact with God, as I understand Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for me and the power to carry that out. We all have a different purpose in life. And 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, I try to carry this message to everyone and to practice these principles in all my affairs. So my interest here is to, and I'll end this here. So before I do that, my purpose, well, no, let me finish that. I would like to take maybe 2 or 3 of the steps at a time and make a video on each step and how I've done the process myself. There's some of these I haven't still completed. I haven't completed all of these, right? I mean, I've sort of skipped a little bit here and there. They don't have to necessarily all be in the same order, right? I'd like to be able to delve a little deeper in each step, and I can do 2 or 3 per video. That should be about a 40-minute video, which seems to be my average. Or I'll do 2 to try and make it a shorter video. I don't know. Let's see how that works, but I will be working on that on this channel. The reason for the reason why I created this channel in particular was because I was starting to talk about these things in my vlog channel, and I saw that there were people unsubscribing because my other channel was something different, right? And I was like, well, you know what, maybe I should create a separate channel so that people know what they're getting into. I'm not forcing this on anyone. My life has changed. I've changed. And I want to share that with people. I want to share my journey and how I've undergone all these things, right? I urge you to go and check the playlist on my other channel, because there's been a lot of on-camera processing, and I will continue to do so on this channel. But yeah, it's been interesting, for me anyway. I feel like I need to share my journey with people because it's helpful to someone watching who might be curious about how to go about doing this for themselves, because they're feeling a prompting but they don't know quite how to start it. This is my purpose in doing this. The oracle readings, I started pulling oracle cards as guidance for my viewers on the other channel, and then I started to really connect with the cards. I started doing readings for myself, and I felt very connected, right? So I started doing readings for people, and that's what started that ball rolling of doing readings on this channel. Like I said, I don't know where that's gonna go. I'm just gonna let it flow the way it is, right? As long as I feel I'm doing good, I will continue. If I feel that it's becoming harmful in any way, or if I've moved beyond what the oracle readings do for me in my journey, it will transform as well. I go with the flow. I go with the flow here, okay? So that's it. I hope that was that it gave you a little bit of an insight into who I am, and and I'm also an artist who has had an artistic block for months now. I haven't done any creative things for my artwork in months. So, yeah. Maybe if people are interested, I can do a Q&A video at some point later on. If you ask me questions, maybe I can, if there's anything you want to know, right? Ask me questions here on this video if you watch it. If you watch this far, thank you. Yeah, and then I'll answer, if I have questions, I'll answer them in a Q&A video. That would be interesting. I would enjoy that. Okay, so I think that's it for now. I might do a reading tonight. I'm not sure yet. The readings have been draining me for some reason. I've been feeling very tired, so I have to research how I can reclaim my energy, because I'm a little bit of a novice when it comes to this. I really am, and I don't think I understand quite how to not let those energies that are coming in drain my own energy. So anyway, it's all a learning process, but I'm enjoying it very much. I feel very prompted by my spirit guides and by divine source to do these oracle readings. And like I said, I'm going with the flow. When it doesn't feel right anymore, I'll just switch it up and do something else. Okay? So for now, thank you so much for watching. My soul embraces yours. Till next time. Bye-bye.